crazy, we got sexy, we got cool, and I'm joking. It almost looks like we're a girl group.
I know.
Because I know y'all see me roll with these two lovely
Why
ladies.
so far away from you guys?
You're not. I mean, get closer, dear. We love you. But I'm super, super happy to have two of my great friends with me here tonight as we tackle a lot of vivid conversations within the podcast. I have to my left, King Dia in the building. She's back. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. And to my right, I have Deb. Miss Deborah Faith in the building tonight.
Deb the beautiful.
Deb the beautiful. Yes. I'm super excited tonight. So, guys, you know, I love to let my listeners know, like, the conversation, like, who is Amber connected to, right? Because I'm a talker. I'm always talking.
Yep.
But you weren't supposed to agree.
Yep.
But, you know, I love to allow the listeners to have like them be a fly on the wall, so they understand like the different conversations I have. Always under emotional intelligence, though, as we tackle entrepreneurship and leadership, like me and Deb spoke about previously, as we spoke about tribes and what happens within these realms. So tonight, our topic is going to be about copycats. And how I like to start talking about this topic is I will never forget one time I was on social media and I read this meme and it says, "Be inspired, but don't copy."
Right. I see that all.
I've seen that before.
Guys, so if I'm honest with you, people copying me used to really get on my nerves. It used to
Why?
really? Yes. It used to really before my emotional intelligence kicked in, copycatting made me cringe.
Why so though?
I'm gonna tell you guys why. Because what I found out is I don't understand it.
Okay.
I found out that I don't understand why you feel the need to take what other people do verbatim when you are your own person and copy that exact thing.
Deb's ready.
So, like, for me, and for me, I am a helper, right? So if somebody came up to me and be like, "Look, I love what you do. I admire what you do. I kind of have a vision that's similar.
Right.
How can we do this together so it's kind of like your lane but my lane?" I respect that. But I hate when people, or hated when, because sometimes it does still bother me, but I'm not impacted. But I'm not as impacted because on the flip side, I do feel what do they say? Like, imitation is flattery, right?
Absolutely.
But I guess, like I said, for a long time, I did not understand it. I used to think, like, that is so whack. That's crazy. Like, why would you wake up and want to be someone else today? Right? You know what I'm saying?
I think you answered your own question.
It did. Yeah. Like, and that's pretty much, like, what I found. What's your take on it, Deb?
So, when you say...
Deb is ready.
Yeah. Deb is ready, right?
I really do have an opinion in that. I think, like you said, to see somebody who's doing what you want to do or what you aspire to do is awesome to admire. But I think the copying part comes literally from people who don't really know themselves and also their audience, because we can do the same thing, right? We both have podcasts, right? But our audience is very different, right?
Yes, indeed.
So, like, really understanding, you know, who I am, and vice versa, you understanding who you are. Our podcasts are nothing like the
because
same.
Let me tell you something.
Right?
To add to what Deb is saying, because shout out to the Exchange Podcast. We got Deb, the curator of that amazing podcast, which talks about our feelings and how we navigate and how we bridge the gap. The BFit for Business podcast is unlike that. And also, too, if I'm honest, my podcast could never be like the Exchange Podcast. Why? I'm crazy. Deb on her podcast, she's talking about bridging the gap between men and women.
Way too much healing going on.
Healing going on now. I am healing, but I'm the girl that's gonna tell these girls, "Girl, if you don't leave that boy and get somebody else." So I know I can't do the Exchange Podcast.
But look, the unhealthy person is the person that copies. The unhealthy person
I love
who
when you
is,
say that. What does the unhealthy person
I was
mean?
about
Though,
to say,
so they can
describe the
understand.
unhealthy
So
person.
I just feel like people who don't know who they are,
Right.
don't have a good view, haven't taken the time to
research.
even research who they are. Because I
Right.
feel like once you know who you are,
Mm-hmm.
things will look different. Like who you're targeting is going to
Right.
look different. If we have two juice companies, shout out to the BFit and
Shout out to
BFit.
local juice company serving up all your favorite juices.
But your reason even for doing juicing may be totally different. You know what I mean? When
Yeah.
you say, you
Your
talk about
purpose.
your mouth, it's different. So when I say unhealthy, I mean people who haven't really figured out who they are. And then they're trying to do something which maybe they're calling in their purpose, but they're trying to do it like Dia would do it instead of putting themselves
Their
on
own
that
twist.
thing, right? And their own thing on there. 'Cause
Oh, so for Dia, what's your experience? What say you about copycats? Because Dia, let's talk about Dia real quick. I'm sorry.
Well, okay, so I have two versions of
Okay.
copycats. Okay, so I have been called a copycat before.
Oh,
and
God, really?
Yeah.
I can't even
Yeah.
tell.
And I have witnessed people blatantly copy me, like straight up, like wow, you're just gonna do this on my face?
Not the flowers.
not the whole setup.
Because that's her trade.
Signature.
Like, your signature,
Yeah,
right? That's
yeah.
her signature. There's flower power. But go ahead.
So here's the thing with that. So how I have combated that over the years is just actually I enjoy it. It sounds weird and a little crazy, but I enjoy the copying because that just says to me it's like a red flag, a Dia, step your game up. So anytime someone begins to copy, it's just a reminder to me like, all right, that's getting old, do something else. So all that really does is forces me to go harder. And
like that.
I'm gonna pull out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull out some
and
things.
and I think me and Dee and I have had this conversation before. So how do you prevent copycats? You keep creating.
Yeah, keep creating.
Because honestly,
that's my cure.
yes.
I was
yes.
about to say that, but I think that speaks to leaders, and we're gonna go back to leaders because I think leaders keep learning.
Yes.
So
Oh, absolutely.
as we continue to learn, maybe that's why again I'd say it's for the unhealthy. As we continue to learn, it's okay for you to copy that because I think I get even what we're doing now. I get a lot of that inspiration from what I've done at church.
Yeah.
And looking at that
right.
and saying,
I heard you say
hey,
this before.
how can I implement similar things but for what I do?
Correct,
Right.
but
Do you know what I mean?
Right, and
Yeah.
I think the difference in something that you said is that you still had your own take on it,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Like, so in my experience, I've been copied like verbatim. I've literally watched
Oh.
people
Wow.
take
I
my
can imagine.
words,
Yeah.
my words.
Probably your whole caption.
Yes, my
I
whole
can
caption,
imagine.
my words.
Been
You
there, done
famous.
that.
You famous.
I mean, but shout out to me though, because you know what? I think 2020 was where I really built my strength in that.
Okay.
Because to be honest, I really built my strength with that in 2020. And if most people notice and you follow my journey, my first quarter, my theme for the first quarter was set the tone.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Right, so I came through the door swinging.
Right, as
So
you
when
should
listen, let me tell you. When I tell you, I literally, I was so fired up and amped up. Like I mastered half of my vision board in
Yeah.
3
I remember
months.
that, yeah.
Like it was. I said, Dia, yo, I was too fired up.
No, but that's what happens.
Exactly.
You know,
You get
yeah.
inspired.
Absolutely.
You get inspired because it's like, for me, I know I set the tone, so I should pride myself on that.
Yeah.
That I should look, Amber, you're admirable. And at the end of the day, you know one thing I say to myself, there's gonna be a time, and this is no disrespect,
Okay.
that I'm going to be so big, I won't even see that stuff
Right,
happening
sure.
anymore.
Yeah, it's not gonna affect
you
you.
won't even nail in on those things.
Yeah.
You're not even gonna be concentrating
That's
on
right,
those things.
absolutely.
That's
so
the goal.
all you have, and another thing, Macy's ain't worried about JCPenney's,
I was about
and
to
JCPenney's ain't worried about Macy's.
It's so much bread on the shelf. and you
Exactly.
still people
All
get
of
what
us.
they
Because
get
there
what
are
they like.
Macy's, there are people who are committed to Macy's and they're gonna go in there because they have all the name brands that they desire. They love the setup, they love this. People go to JCPenney's because they love the sales, they love that they can
Right.
get things that are reasonable.
Right.
And then you got people who go to both regardless.
Yeah,
so it doesn't matter.
yeah.
Like, and I built strength in that in the year of 2020. If I'm being honest. And I ignore it now because it's just like, honestly, like something that Deb said about being unhealthy.
Right.
I'm very confident in who I am. And when you are confident in who you are, it's two sides of that.
Yeah.
You can't be worried about what other people doing, what they think, how they're carrying it, right?
Nope.
And also, if you're also a confident person, you understand people who are not confident are going to do what confident people do, right? So copycatting again used to really bother me. I actually, oh my God, I have so many stories. I work with somebody like extremely close with me. We did an event together, and it was like they snubbed exactly what I did right under me. Then I like said something to them, and they were like, "Oh, I got inspired by you." I'm like, "But that's just a conversation." Yeah. Like, and we're cool enough where we could have had that conversation. I thought we were, but and the crazy part, that person had it all. Like, you got the like they had the right. They had the location. They have the clientele. Right. But I think in that moment, if I'm honest, we did something together, and they like sometimes people put you in a box, and they're like, "Oh, I don't mind working with this person because they're smaller than me. I'm helping them." And then it flipped on them like, "Oh, they're the one who got this crowd here."
No, that's that. You know, they don't know that you're Oprah.
Yeah. I love that. Right?
They don't know that you're Oprah.
Right. I'm like,
you thought I was like here, but I'm really Oprah.
It's definitely a meme on that. Me and Dia love that. It's like when people think you're nobody, but
you think
they
you're
find
nobody,
out you're
really
Oprah. Yes, absolutely. So Dia, somebody has accused you of how did that feel?
Initially I laughed.
Okay.
Because it's
you're
like
so creative. I can't even see it.
And I've been like this all my life. I think where things like that stem from, when people think that you are copying them, is because they don't know you. So when they don't know you, they don't know your path, they don't know who you've been all your life. I'm sure my dad can attest to every single thing I'm doing. My mom can attest to every single thing I'm doing. You know, my aunt Vaughn, you know, from a little girl, like I've always done like stuff with a microphone. I used to write plays in her house. We used to go there for the summer. Like, I've always had a creative edge. I've always sewn all my life. I learned how to sew when I was in the 6th grade. I've always I dabbled with doing hair. That's not my thing. I don't have the patience to braid. I don't have the patience. That's why God gave me voice. But you know, I just, you know, that's just, I ventured, but that wasn't my thing. You know, I've always been into like making jackets and clothes and hair bows, and that has always been my creative edge and has always been who I am. But if you haven't known me from the beginning of time and you just came into a chapter of my life, you would probably think like, oh, all she does is cook, or all she does is this. You're classifying me as something where you haven't known all those years prior.
I think so too, that people don't realize that there are people who have layers, right?
Yes,
so there are some people who they're great at one thing, they do that one thing, they do it well, but then there are people who have, similar to you, Dia, people be like, what exactly do you do? Right? Because at periods of times, or in seasons of different, you know, different seasons of my life, I've been an event planner. I still do that. I'm a creative. I'm a creative.
So I'm a visionary. I'm a visionary.
You're a visionary.
I love to coin myself
I think we all are, though.
I mean, Deb says I'm a creative. I don't possibly see it, but I mean,
I creative in a different thing.
My creativity looks different. There are more like artsy.
Yeah, it's probably not like a tangible thing.
Yes, it's not tangible. Like I create experiences in my head, and that's why I feel like I'm more of a visionary. But I am a creative in my own right. But with respect to more of a visionary, I see things in a big way. I'm the Fox friend where I'm telling them like, hey, y'all got an idea. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm more of that. Wow, you know, ladies. I mean, for me, I really feel like it's not an easy road to travel, especially like for me. I want to say like I got very popular very fast. So there were a lot of things that I had to mature in very fast. And thanks to Dia, because she had been in the game longer than me. Dia, you're touching 7 years of entrepreneurship?
I'm already there. Okay. I'm at 7.5.
Okay, so 7.5 years of entrepreneurship. I'm in my year 4 going into year 5 next year. So I'm 4.5 years in. So it is good to talk to people who kind of like been in the game. To be honest, I think a lot of where I used to feel insecure in that area came from who I was connected to. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Of course.
If you are around people who are easily offended, and like I'll be honest, like there was a time that I was being mentored and everything was like mind, cover, don't let people see.
Right.
So that kind of shapes your mind into like protecting.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you are the world is supposed to see you, it don't matter how much you try to protect, cover, they're just supposed to see it.
Yeah.
I've watched people literally start juicing and they can't take it past 30 to 60 days. They like, or they'll have a good run 60 to 90 days, and they like, this is a lot of work because like sometimes you make things look so easy that people feel that, oh, I could come in, I could do that, when really you shouldn't. When you step in any game, you shouldn't be worried about what you like. What you could do better than people. You should just be worried about what you could do.
Right.
Or at least that's how I see life. I don't really care about what other juicing companies are really doing because I know for a fact my beats are the best. Like, you know what I'm saying? And not only that, I do play.
Really
Thank you, Dia. But you know, like I also know, like, all right, nobody got peach juice. Nobody got this. Like, I know like certain things that people are just not doing, and it's okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've never, even big companies, I've never seen people do golden beach juice and all of those different things. So that's my creative side.
That is.
But yeah, it's just like you can't come into the game worrying about what you could do better. You just have to just do what you do
and
at its
whoever's
best.
copying, also to another thing to just keep in mind, whoever's copying, it all comes down to consistency. You know, how consistent are they really gonna be?
Right.
You know, how serious are they gonna take this? That has nothing to do with you. You know, but again, we're gonna continue to reiterate. When people copy, just allows you to create more.
Yes.
You just gotta go harder. That's it.
So what would we tell somebody who is copying, like?
Someone that we know who's doing the copying.
Yeah, the copying.
I mean, like for me, I would just say always be true to yourself. I mean, my backstory, if you can emulate that, I mean, it's unfortunate. I lost my mom.
But what I will say is, let's keep it all real. I don't feel anything is actually original.
Nothing.
Okay?
I don't either.
So let's just touch on that a little bit. Like, I don't want anyone to misconstrue that, I'm the original. I'm doing everything the first. No. Nothing is original. You probably got inspired from something which created something that you're doing.
Absolutely.
But I don't think anything is like a complete original.
No.
I just don't think so. I think that everyone is somewhat inspired from something which created their theme.
Right, because I'll be honest with you. The initial reason how I knew how to juice, because I've been juicing honestly since I was like 22, 23 years old.
Okay.
And I learned from a previous trainer.
Oh, wow.
He was like, yo, I want you to drop more weight. I want you to get leaner. So I'm a juice for you.
Wow.
I didn't love his juice though.
Gotcha.
But I remember Beets juice being like really good, and him telling me like, yo, you need to drink Beets. Also, so when he was doing that for me, I would go to like Whole Foods, and I hated their juices. So I always used to say, Whole Foods. I just didn't like them. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
it's her opinion.
It is my opinion, right? So I just didn't like them. I didn't like his juices, and I didn't like Whole Foods. So I always said that if I create a juice, I want it to be something that people that some people enjoy. That takes that negative thing about about beets off. Like, because when you think about beets, what do you think? Everybody's thinking about how they were pickled in a jar, and people were like grossed out, and your parents made you eat them. And I wanted to change that narrative. But that again is what separates you from everybody else. Like, so you can't. It's harder to copy than it is to actually create your own
thing.
Right.
Absolutely.
And to my backstory, I did take on my own health journey again because I lost my mom to cancer.
Right.
And it was something that she had asked me to do towards the end of her life. As far as like, she bought a NutriBullet and she wanted me to like start helping her make things, and everything escalated so fast we never got a chance to do it. So that's my backstory to BFit and Focus, right? So how can you emulate that? Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's why it's important to make sure you know your own why.
Right.
You have to know your own own why.
Yes.
And that's the only way that whatever you have is going to be successful. Because anybody who even teaches you anything in business is you have to sell yourself. So how you gonna sell somebody else?
Yeah.
Like people buy into me. I'm almost sure of it.
But I think a lot of times too, people begin to copy because they
Desperation. A little bit.
I wouldn't say desperation. I think they're looking at something and they're saying, "Hey, that's working for them.
Right.
That's gonna work for me."
I was
Okay,
about to
so
say
I don't
that.
really want to say
That's good.
anyone's desperate or they just don't. I just really feel that they really admire what's going on. They're saying, "Hey, they could do it. That's working for them.
Let
I
me
know
try
this could
it.
work for
Let me
me."
try it.
Right.
But where people go wrong is when you are implementing every single thing this person is doing.
Correct.
That's where it's like, oh wait, hold on. You got to kind of create your own style here. And so it's okay to take things from people. Like, hey, I kind of like that.
Yeah,
shit.
Barbara, I
Put
do.
apples in this,
Absolutely.
or she started golden beets with that, and I kind of like that. I taste a little cucumber. I think I'm gonna try that next time.
Yes.
That's okay,
Yeah.
but put your own twist on
Absolutely.
it.
Because who's gonna be for you is gonna be for you.
Right.
Like I bought juices even from other juice companies,
Right,
and I know
as
how
you
to make
should.
juices myself. Like you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So who is gonna be for you is gonna be for you. You can't enter it in like, oh well, I could take their people, or it's just like Deb said, if I was to say something to people who have that habit of copying, it will all automatically be just know your why. Understand why you're in this game, because ultimately any business and any task or whatever you take on, it has to come from something that's personal to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't, you're in business, you're here to fix a problem. That's
Right.
how you make money. People hate juicing. They don't like the cleanup. They don't like this. They don't like that, and they think it tastes nasty. So my job is to make sure
Definitely
it doesn't
a tedious job.
Exactly. My job is to take that task off of you, and my job also
Make
is to
it
keep you
taste
healthy
good.
and make it taste good. So that's my job. So I understand what it is that I'm doing. I understand my why, and I understand the background of what it is that I do. So those are 3 components that you need to make sure you're doing on your own for your own reasons.
Good.
And it's okay because like we follow dope people all the time.
Oh,
in business,
absolutely.
right?
And I mean,
Absolutely.
there's numerous times I might see something and I'll send it to you and be like, "Oh, this is dope. I'm gonna put my own spin on it."
Yes.
I always say that, like, "Oh, that's dope. Let me figure out a way how I'm gonna put my own spin on it."
Absolutely.
Or I like how that was worded. Let me figure out how I'm gonna do that for myself.
Yeah.
Or I like how she did that. How can I fit that into what I'm doing?
Correct.
That's the
Inspire.
difference.
Don't copy.
Yeah.
That's it. Like it's that. I think it's just really as simple as that. Like, Doc, have you ever been like copied or noticed it?
I don't think I know. I don't think I pay attention.
Oh, that's
If
good.
I'm honest, I don't think that's something that, again, I am trying to be as healthy as I can be. No.
Let's bridge it together.
I don't worry
And
about those things.
I don't, because I feel like my anointing has an audience, right?
Yes.
And whether it's a podcast, whether it's a clothing line, whether it's not me doing, social media marketing, whatever I'm doing, it has an audience. And I don't know, I don't have that like, who's for me is for me, and they'll gravitate to me regardless. So I don't know that I really pay attention enough to know if people are copying. And I'm a learner, so I'm constantly
me too.
upping, like what Dia said, I'm upping my game, and whether that means that I'm reading more, whether that means
my
that
thirst for knowledge is like
I'm getting new
immense.
software, or I'm always like, hey, how could we do this better? And you know that. I'm like, even though we're doing a podcast, I'm like, there's stuff that I'm seeing, I'm like,
We can sharpen up,
I
right?
think we can sharpen here and sharpen there. So I feel like when you're a learner to that extent, I'm going to have a wealth of information for you to take. By the time I realize you probably done took that, I'm like 20
you're
steps.
already, you're done with that.
And
But that's all part of keeping
and that's
it going.
and I mean, so I don't mind sharing. I think it's appropriate way to ask for sharing.
Yes.
I think that's
Right.
one thing that I've experienced,
Yes.
that people kind of like, hey, where I've gotten, I'm self-taught in a lot of areas, right? I work in IT, but in what we're doing in media and all that kind of stuff, I'm teaching myself. So when people kind of come and be like, hey, how you doing this? And you want the blueprint to that. It's like, and I don't even know you.
You gotta do it forward.
You know what I mean? So I didn't even get a good morning. You know what I mean? I think just approach.
How you do that?
Yeah, like how you do
Where
that?
you
It's
get that
like,
from?
so I don't mind
their
sharing.
favorite
I just think
question,
that people really, for the listeners, when you see something that's dope, I don't think that it's wrong to reach out to people to say, hey, how do you get that or whatever.
It's actually admirable.
It's admirable. I love that, but it's also etiquette.
Yeah,
It's etiquette.
definitely.
Good word.
Of
That's
how.
beautiful.
It's etiquette of how to do that. So I've definitely had that where I'm just like, hello, and I don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So thank you, but hey, how you doing? Good morning.
And to what I always try to tell people too, I love that you said that, because there is definitely etiquette in that. Like someone recently reached out to me like, where you get your bottles from? First of all, they said, good morning. Oh, dude, congratulations on all you did. Because, you're trying to get to the information, but you're putting on. You're like, oh, congrats on all you doing. Where you get your bottles from? Because I couldn't get, I'm tired of getting mine on Amazon. Oh, hi, how are you? That's funny, considering you think I'm doing so well. You don't even follow me. Yeah. What are we talking about? Like, you get what I'm saying? I kind of feel like, me personally, anything that I'm trying to get to know someone, or if I feel they're admirable, etiquette. Hey, can we have dinner together? I would love to talk to you. Or do you charge anything to consult?
And people be willing to pay consultation fees.
Oh my God, say that louder.
I'm saying to people, be willing to.
Yes,
because a lot of people are not willing to pay for knowledge.
Exactly.
A lot of people are not willing to pay
that was my second
for,
point. Absolutely.
the advice or the direction.
Absolutely.
You have to pay for those things. Those things are not free. If I choose to give you some pointers, if I choose to say, hey, do it this way, not that way, that's my choice.
Right.
But for the most part, be willing to learn and pay for your learning, because education is not free.
And to be very honest, a lot of the people that I do give free gems to all the time, they have invested into something I'm doing in such a large way. Like we use Shaq, for instance, from Weirdo XL. Shout out to Shaq, love Shaq. But Shaq is like so dope. Like Shaq has supported my business immensely. She's paid those vendor fees to be a part of my network and anything. So she could come to me and ask me anything, and I'll be willing to answer anything for her. She's like appointed me as like, oh, you're my mentor. I'm like, whatever you say, Shaq, you know. But that's respectable. Like you get what I'm saying? You gotta pay what you weigh. Like you have to come to people and be like, listen. And I think that's where the copying comes from, because it's like I don't feel like asking them for that. You can't have that type of attitude. Right. You admire somebody, tell them. Number one, speak
and it's okay.
It's okay. They're not gonna be. I know I'm not nasty to people. Never. But like, if you want to, learn something from me, like I charge for business consultation. That whole let me pick your brain thing. I don't get down like that. And it's not because I don't share it. Let me show you. I have the ability to share with what I want to share. Right. And I do that.
You share.
And I do that. I feel like I share in a very open way. I drop a lot of knowledge on people, but when you're asking me specific information on your number one, it's my time, right? Like you have to value my time. I'm always working on something pertaining to what I'm doing, or I'm helping someone else. So you have to pay for my time. You have to pay for my knowledge, because guess what? I had to do a lot of trial and error. I lost a lot of money. I have lost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to get to the right thing, right? And what you're asking me is, let me skip all of that and get to what you know. And there's a way, like you said, there's a way to do that, but you gotta be willing to put in, like a little, you know what I'm saying?
I think we talk about this often, and what Dia said is that people aren't willing to invest in themselves.
Invest in your business. If this is gonna be your brand, if this is what you're looking to do, you have to invest in it. Period. Bottom line.
And if you want to get better, you have to invest. Whether those are classes, you have to figure out. Like for me, every year I'll map out like what I'm doing. Am I doing conferences? Am I doing classes?
Absolutely.
What books am I reading? You have to invest in yourself. If you're not investing in yourself and just think that everybody's going to pour and you're going to get better,
hold your hand along the way, then you're setting yourself up for failure.
And I also feel like copying derives from wanting instant gratification.
Absolutely.
Instant gratification, not understanding that it's a process. Everything is a process. You cannot. Now, I do like to say sometimes I'm the sacrifice in that. Like I've gone through enough hard stuff to not want other people to go through hard stuff. However, that comes with a price.
But then again, I said that's part of if I choose. If I choose to share, that's different.
Yeah, but here's the thing. like I said, if I want to know how I do this, how I market, how I this, how I that, right? That I had to learn that the hard way. I had to lose mad money, but it's only gonna cost you $150. It's only gonna cost you $150
to get the 4 years
to get all the thousands I lost.
Yeah.
Come on, yo, that's a hell of a deal if you ask me. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like
I'm gonna cut the corners for you.
Exactly. I'm gonna cut all these corners for you
the
for
cliff notes.
for the small price of $150 to $200. You know what I'm saying? So
I'll give you the cliff notes to the game.
exactly. Don't mind all the scratch out. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like I feel like that. So guys, if you had to offer some words of wisdom about like copying, like what would you guys say? Like, I know what I'll say.
What you gonna say?
Work on that why. Work on your why. Once you have the answer to that, you're not even gonna be looking to the left or the right. Because one thing is for sure is that winners focus on winners and losers focus on winning. Winners.
That's a good one, yeah.
I think, of course, I always got to go back to health. I would tell. I would tell to, and I think I have two. So I would tell to the person that's being copied to just know when you know, like, yo, I'm dope. Y'all dope. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like people are going to kind of copy, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
And to, let that fall off your back and keep on growing and going. I think for the person that's copying, I would challenge them to figure out what or who their audience is. Like, who are you created to bring in with whatever you're selling, whatever product you have, because once you hone into that, it's like whatever you're making, you're not gonna be worried about necessarily your audience. Like, I'm not even looking at your audience. So if your audience is, let's just say my audience is Black women, right? If yours is men, we're not doing the same thing. So even if the product is the same, the manner that I target it should be different. So it shouldn't be a copy. It shouldn't be one-to-one. And we all have, your anointing has an audience.
Absolutely.
So concentrate on your audience.
Right.
Yeah.
What say you, Dia?
I would say that, hey, copying is going to happen. Okay, you can't just prevent it. It's going to happen.
Absolutely.
However, if you are feeling like you need to copy, I would just say put your own spin on it. Okay? If someone is inspiring you that much, put your own spin on it. Add your own twist to it. And that's pretty much it. And you're going to see things that inspire you. I would be sitting here telling y'all the biggest lie if I don't see things on a daily basis that do not inspire me.
Absolutely.
I get content throughout the day and it just inspires me. But again, like I always say, I really like that. Let me figure out a way to make it work for me.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you just gotta kind of figure out the way it's gonna work for you. Like, hey, I know how to make beach juice, but let me try to figure out a way how to make a beach juice my way. Hey, I know how to make salmon with, asparagus, but let me try to spin it my way. I'm gonna put a flower on it.
I love you, ladies. Thank you so much for being so candid with my listeners. Honestly, guys, I'm always going to keep it 100% real with you. Like I said, I struggled in that area, but thankfully for these two strong-headed, lovely ladies who always try to keep me on track as far as like my feelings and helping me navigate through emotional intelligence, because it does take a lot of that to be successful.
Absolutely.
You cannot respond, especially as you grow, you cannot respond the same to everything. This is why you have to have your tribe. Like, you know what I'm saying? So these are the people that, you express your frustrations with. I love you, Dia. I love you, Deb.
I love you.
Thank you guys again for joining the BFit for Business podcast. That's our take on CopyCats, y'all.
Have a good night or day.